Okay, there's my audio input is capturing correctly. Got to set the volume back up. Okay, audio output, change that too because it was changed to voice meter. And okay, Realtek. Okay, that's capturing your audio. Okay. Okay, there's my audio input is capturing correctly. Got to set the volume back up.
We have two watching. Can we do some testing volume? Should we be
Okay,
talking
I'm
now?
getting volume on the stream.
Okay, and I'm
Hey, we've got
testing.
Tony saying it's working. Tony Resume says it's working. Thank you, Tony. What are you
Yep.
doing? Stalking us, mate. We have stalking laws in this country. How are you, buddy? Fucking hell, these people, you do it stream, you're on 3 seconds and... Oh no, Stream Elements has got it. The bot's chasing us. Sorry, I'm just travelling. Tell me to shut up if I have to.
Thank you, Tony.
And I'll put that on about 20 seconds delay. Audio works. Test out YouTube, please, Christmas. That's going.
The video?
Yeah, just see if the video's going.
Taint the
Hold this mute
organization.
and
The
go listen to
organization should be
YouTube.
disbanded. Is that my understanding?
Oh, I didn't say that. I just
Yeah.
think that the
No,
views
no,
of your
no.
founder are relevant to the people.
I figure
no
if
longer
Stream
here.
Elements is running, go ahead and do a heist.
We have got it, guys. I just had a check. I'm going to listen again.
Well, okay. So you said
I
that
wonder if
people who join the
Gamble
Proud
will
Boys
ever
were roped
work
in by
on
his
the stream
personality.
bot.
Well, a lot of his personality, as espoused by his show, was
Gamble all. Yeah, we still have a huge delay. It's
Yeah, that's because of the settings.
it's really annoying me. Yeah.
That's let me see. I'm gonna see if I can change that.
Well, even I've noticed even when you do low latency. Sorry, Tony, that's probably me because I'm listening to the stream on my cell phone that I'm holding right in front of my
will be.
face, my microphone.
And he's not... You got to mute one or the other. Good call. Well done. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah. Even I've noticed with low latency, it's still like 10 to 15 seconds sometimes.
Ultra
So,
low latency can get anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds.
yeah.
Goddamn speed of light. Don't you wish
Yeah.
it was higher?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Well, we're talking right now. I don't know where Tony is, but two people in the U.S. are talking to someone in Australia pretty much instantaneously. So, technology is kind of awesome.
Yeah, the technology is fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
Technology is
did
fucking
that
awesome.
fix the echo, by the way? Because I definitely I turned the volume down on my phone and moved it away from the microphone.
Yep. And that has worked. Ideally, you would have headphones on in this situation, but that's... It's a winner. We got audio volume, video volume.
Or two people in the U.S. One. Pretty much instantaneously. That's pretty awesome, really.
Got that fixed. Okay.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It wasn't picking up. It wasn't picking up on this. This scene, and I had to change the intro as well. But that's no problem. The outro doesn't have any audio from us anyway, so no need to worry about that. Be right back screen already has the right. Yeah, it has the right. Yeah, this already works. Dark Scrolls opening. I don't need it here. Among Us. No. And
Yeah,
Jackbox.
just check and make sure I wasn't paying attention. You may have already checked this, but just checking to make sure the YouTube works on the stream.
Yeah.
We did, but
pushing
just test it
far-right
again. Just
political
make
positions.
sure.
So it seems
Okay.
like it wasn't
Yeah.
so
Maybe
much of a
change to
personality
another, but
cult
yeah,
as it
we
was a
did test
shared
it. I'll go
political
test.
belief. There aren't exactly
I'm going to
many
mute my
left-leaning
mic so
people
that I
in
can listen to the stream.
Okay, I'm testing now.
Proud Boys, and there's a reason for that.
I mean, there's a couple, but not a lot. Yeah.
I'd like to talk to them. That'd be a fun conversation.
Yeah, we got. We got like one or two liberals. We actually.
Awesome. Yeah, it works.
Good.
I think we're good to go for tomorrow. So, Tony and Jen both, we're going to stream Joe Biden's inauguration tomorrow. starting in a little less than 12 hours. If you guys want to come by, it's
Yeah.
going to be a party. And Little Wolf as well. Come by and laugh at Donald Trump getting dragged out of the White House kicking and screaming,
Wish.
crying like a pet child.
Also,
I would pay good money to
Yep.
watch the Secret Service tackle.
also, guys, to add to that, if I may add to it, Arden and I did weird presidential shit a few weeks back, and we managed to get Amy Hogan to read out President Harding, who was a real ladies' man, who named his Jerry, I think. We got Amy to read those out, and there's a lot of presidential fuck-ups we didn't cover, guys. So there's a fair bit of material when it comes to idiot presidents, so you could probably throw a little bit of those ones, but Trump is definitely the worst. But hey, guys, we've had a winner. This is a good stream. We've had lots of good results. We've even had some people stalk us. So we've got 5 watching, and it's a fucking test. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
This is
You know,
awesome.
We literally came on just to make sure everything worked with Jitsi, and everything works with Jitsi. So, check that box off.
I'm not even going to delete this because it's just, it's a test. I mean, it won't matter if we have it recording or not.
Yeah.
Okay. It might upset the balance of our site. Okay. Those neon things actually really pop. What is it? The start where it's got the Saturday night in neon. It really looks good. It's got that real Stephen Colbert look about it.
Yeah, I love the vaporwave look we got right now.
I love it. I love the way they pop, and ours look like they're fucking all over the joint like a mad woman shit. Gives it a nice light and shade. Anyway, guys, what do you say we call it quits and a good stream? This has been an excellent one.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
This is the best stream we've had so far.
Just so everyone knows, fuck voice meter. Voice meter can go eat a huge dick and choke on it and die.
We literally spent, 2 hours trying to figure this shit out, and it would not work. And I was like,
with me, who is an audio engineer who has worked with some very, very good systems before, and with Vish, who knows her shit when it comes to voice meter, and neither of us could figure it the fuck out. And so we jump on Jitsi and everything works perfectly.
Yeah.
After 2 hours fucking with voice meter, trying to get it to work on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. This makes me happy.
Fuck voice meter. Fuck voice meter. All hail Jitsi. Our goddess Jitsi.
I've been modding Skyrim lately, guys, because I've got special edition. I've been pouring the mods in because I've worked out Vortex Mod Manager, and I've worked out my moods are relative to how well modded my game is. If all the mods are working, I'm happy as Larry. If 2 or 3 are dodgy, I become angry. So that's it. Modding games is either good or bad for your moods.
Speaking of Skyrim, that's something I haven't played in a long time.
I haven't played.
Dude.
My first character, I put nearly 800 hours into. I'm not even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I put
tons
and tons of hours into it, and then my house got struck by lightning back in 2016, and it fried my Xbox, my Wii, 2 TVs, a bunch of other stuff, and a buddy of mine gave me his old PlayStation, sorry, his old PS3, and so I started a new character. And for some reason, every time that I try to go get the skeleton key, it freezes with this new PlayStation.
Yeah. You can't walk into the actual barrow to get down to it. I know the one. You couldn't get him. What's the name? The boss of the Thieves Guild wouldn't follow you down into the little stairs. So what you got to do is get behind and shout him into it. You got to blow him into it, or I don't know. He doesn't follow you. No, what I've been doing on Special Edition, I'm trying it big time, but I've just found all these new armors by a guy called Deserter X, and the fucking armor, it is just awesome. There are like little engraved roses. You don't notice it until you zoom in. And I've also got the famous Terra Succubus armor. Oh my God, fishnet and stockings and stilettos. If this chick turned up to fuck you to death, you'd be all right with it.
Well, my character, I actually literally got that character to level 84, I think.
Oh.
I got it to his highest level. I got the character to their highest level because everything was maxed out. Every tree was maxed out.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I could not get a level higher.
So I got into the Elder Scrolls games with Morrowind back on the original Xbox.
Oh yeah, I remember.
A buddy of mine had it, and back when I was in college, every Friday night, me and this friend would go to a Mexican restaurant and eat dinner and drink a pitcher of margaritas, and then we go back to his apartment and eat a bunch of mushrooms and sit there playing video games until they kicked in, and then go up into the mountains on an adventure. And one night he had been playing Morrowind. And so we eat a bunch of mushrooms, and I was like, well, I want to try. So I started playing Morrowind, and I started tripping balls and decided it was a good idea to just go into towns and kill people and steal their pants. And I spent 8 hours just going on a killing spree and stealing their pants, and just thinking, like, you know, these guards are going to be coming to these cities looking around at a bunch of dead people with no pants laying in the street. And I thought it was the funniest thing. But I fell in love with the game, so I ended up buying the Game of the Year edition and loved that game. And so I bought Oblivion. I bought Oblivion on my computer. And I loved that because you could enter the codes and just add stuff to your inventory.
Yeah.
So there was a quest where you had to get rid of one of the items, like the skeleton key, or the Jabberwocky, or one of those items, one of the god items.
Data artifacts. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a quest where you had to get rid of one of those, and it just deleted it from the game. So what I did, I just gave myself a second skeleton key in my inventory, and then burned that skeleton key for the game.
Well, yeah, you had to get past the Oblivion gate. You had to, I remember now. To get past an Oblivion gate, you had to sacrifice the Daedric artifact. That's right.
Yeah.
There are some guys that have actually just made Oblivion. They just made a retrofit of Oblivion.
Yeah, and
to
Skyrim.
fit to Skyrim Elder Scrolls 5. It's on a full retro. It is brilliant. It is better than anything Bethesda could ever come out with. These guys are really dedicated. In fact, the modification community for Skyrim have kept it afloat for almost 10 years now, guys.
Yeah.
They're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
In fact,
That game's been out for 10 years. Jeez.
Any of the modders you find who does a good one, stalk them and compliment them and let them know, because it's a labour of love, and fuck, man, they are so good. The armour's right now. I just here in the armour and just cruise around looking at all the fittings and fixtures and they even have rust around the rivets on the steel armour. It's so fucking detailed. I love them. It's made for 4K resolution now.
I remember there was one.
Yeah.
There was one that I really liked. One mod. I can't remember who it was that made it, but it was King Arthur's uniform from what's the name? Fate Order. No, Fate. Fate Stay Night. Sorry, Fate Stay Night. It was actually King Arthur's gear and her sword too. It was actually really good too, because her invisible sword is fucking powerful as fuck, man. So I was just slashing enemies with an invisible sword.
That's such a great series of games, though. I never played anything before Morrowind.
I played Daggerfall
Morrowind
a little bit, but it's not that great. I have played Daggerfall.
Yeah.
And it's not that great.
Morrowind was great except for the travel system.
Yeah.
I like where you can just click on a location and fast travel to it after you found it.
The best travel system for Morrowind is Boots of Binding Speed.
What was that?
Boots of
I'd say
Binding
those.
Speed. You know the long
Yes.
jump. You know the long jump spell, right? You know the long jump spell.
Yeah.
That plus Boots of Blinding Speed, plus Slowfall can get you over the entire map in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Well, what I ended up doing was doing the Boots of Blinding Speed and then enchanting. I think I had a ring enchanted with levitation and then an amulet enchanted with see in the dark so that I could still see.
Yeah.
And I would put all 3 of those on and then just walk really fast through the air a above all the enemies and everything. Like the pterodactyl things would still try to chase me, but I was going so fast they couldn't keep up. And then just fly across the map, just run through the air across the map.
How fun is this? How fun is the long jump spell though? The scroll you get from the wizard that just suddenly falls in front of you screaming and dies.
Yeah. And I don't like the training system in Skyrim where you can only train 5 times per level. Like I like the training system in Morrowind when you could go to a master trainer and sit there and train, 100 times straight if you wanted to. But, you would train your secondaries for a little while and then go train one of your primary skills to level up. And you would get the ×5 multiplier for everything and level up, and then go back and train your secondaries again. Pick 2 secondaries to train them a bunch of times, and then go train a primary skill like 5 times, and then level up and get the ×5 multiplier.
But see, that's where the reason they did that was because people were power leveling, and they didn't want to break. They didn't want the game to be broken, so they had to make a compromise.
Yeah, well,
I can understand that.
What's
in Oblivion? One thing that I loved about Oblivion, you could get your sneak up to 100 overnight by going to that room. Like, there's this guy that sleeps all the time, and you get this quest where you go and you murder him just to put him out of his misery. Yeah. But you just go into his room and crouch down and turn on auto walk, and then just cut your screen off and go to bed, and the next morning you wake up and your sneak is up to 100.
Yeah, but then it only affects whatever the sneak skill is attached to, and it kind of fucks your character over a little bit. I forgot what
I always liked being sneaky. Yeah, because when I'm going down into a barrow or a cave or whatever, I sneak, and that way I can get the sneak
I'll say
multiplier when I hit someone.
I'll say this: I had this one character in Oblivion that I completely abused the hell out of chameleon spell of, because I had 120 chameleon. I would be attacking people.
Nice.
I would be attacking people, and they'll just stand there and put their swords away. They'll pull their swords out.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? And then they put their swords away. I would just yeah.
You have to enchant like Daedric armor and an amulet and a ring. I think you'd wear like 2 rings plus the amulet plus the armor.
No,
and all of those combined, if you enchanted them with chameleon, you could get 100%.
I had an exploit where you could wear infinite rings.
Ah, gotcha.
All you need is 2 rings of the same exact type. Well, the same exact name and same exact ability. And as long as you have those 2 equipped, you drop 1, it'll act as though you still have 2 equipped. And so you'll pick it up, and it'll show up as 3 in your inventory. And it'll automatically equip that one. So you drop it again, it'll show up as 4 in your inventory.
Another thing, though, guys, what you pointed out with the skill leveling is Skyrim itself, you don't start with a native character class or a race type, whereas Oblivion, you were like a mage or a fighter. And what I found in the earliest stages, when you're going through on a legendary level, because it's really easy to get killed, you walk into a bear and you're fucking dead, basically. What I found was to swap it up, go light and heavy armor, because when you're a lower skill, you just get 1 hit, you improve, and that improves your overall leveling. So swap your armors around from light to heavy, and swap your weapons around from magic to light to heavy weapons, and you skill up very quickly, and it's not actually cheating within the game, you're just becoming multi-talented. And I've got to say, riding a horse with a battle axe and getting chickens is such a fun thing to do. It really fucking is good fun, and that you find these little quirks that you start doing, and they develop your character. And I find that adversity makes you a better character. If you've got the best army, you just barge in. If you got shit, you got to be careful about your approach. You know, you got to squat down and you want to take out the Forsworn, but they can all fight and there's 100 of them at a given time. You've got to be cunning and pop them off one by one, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about the game. You can play through thousands of times and never play twice the same way.
Yeah.
I love the massive open world games like that. Like, I spent the summer of 2004 basically playing Morrowind.
Yeah.
Like, I just sat there because I've only had a job for a few weeks. I was a technical director for one show that summer, and I was taking a night course in college, and that was twice a week. So, like, 3 hours 2 nights a week, and then like a couple of weeks of a show. The rest of the summer I just sat there on my couch playing Morrowind. God, I love that game. And I love, with the Game of the Year edition, they added 2 new maps. They had the map that looks like the British Isles, and then that big city. And the guy that you had to go to had a full set of adamantium armor. Like, the guy to get from the regular Morrowind map over to those 2 maps, you had to talk to him. He had a full set of adamantium armor. And I wanted that so badly, but if you killed him, you couldn't get back to those places.
Okay, so I'm re-downloading the Skyrim again.
I do.
Yeah,
Do special
I've
edition.
got it on PlayStation, which sucks because you can't mod it or anything.
Oh, dude, no, you've got to go special edition now with Vortex. Vortex has now made modding so easy. You load in something from Lover's Lab. There's none of this dicking around. You basically hit the install mods, drop it, drag it, and it's in. The modding is so good. It does the mod order automatically. You don't have to run the 5 pre-programs each time you change one mod now. And look, I was at the stage on the old Rim where just getting a loading screen was the end of a massive quest. Like, yay, I've got the thing to load again, because I was modding the fuck out of it. I would mod it till it breaks. That was the whole challenge, getting a loading screen.
Yeah. So I love how, we said this was going to be a quick 5-minute stream just to check and make sure everything worked. And we're still sitting here talking, and we have viewers, and
Well, guys, I was originally intending to do, this was my plan before we all kind of got together. I was going to do a pissed Aussie in Skyrim, mod the fuck out of it, go on and do a YouTube stream where I'm talking back to the characters as someone who woke up after a hangover, and I'm just trying to get out of this fucking place. That's what my original plan was. Yeah, I was going to do that. I was going to
I watched
I got distracted a little bit by you cunts. So, yeah, but I will get back onto that. The drunk Aussie in Skyrim is going to be a thing at some stage.
Yes.
I might start working on it this year.
Since we do have viewers, I want to ask people, would anyone be interested, the Flat Earth game, what is it? Topology of the Heart. I think on the old channel, Arduin played through it. Would you guys be interested in a Quiddy Plays Topology of the Heart? Because I've been thinking about downloading it on my new computer and playing through it again, and I figured, hey, if I can stream it, then I can probably be pretty funny as I'm playing through it.
Yep, agreed.
So if people are interested in it, I'll do it.
It's what you do, dude. That's the way to go about it, is to add in a good script, make it fun, make it a good thing to listen to, and people are going to come back. Also, all of this YouTube community, this Discord community, all seem to be sitting around waiting for something to happen at times. Like, you do a test stream and there's 5 people watching you. Fuck, okay.
Yeah, we've got 10 people in chat right now, and this was just to, make sure that this worked.
Yeah.
And Jinju says, hells yeah. Facty says yes. So we might do that sometime maybe next week. I'll download it on my new computer. I haven't played it since I got my new computer. So it'll be fun. And we can laugh at all the stupid flurfs.
We got a whole fucking year ahead, mate. Let's plan it out and spread the year and not spread ourselves across a nice big... I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah. But But just, when I've got free time, and I'm pretty sure I'll have free time next week, we'll do it, because really all I need is Chrismer to send my screen to YouTube. That's it.
Yep.
Okay, I should ACCPT. There. I don't know why, but on this new on Bunker 33, for some reason people can actually beat me in Heist or in Duel. It used to be like everyone would duel me and I would win every time, but now with Bunker 33, I lose almost every time.
That's weird.
I was invincible back in the day.
That was weird.
But yeah, we'll look at doing that soon.
Any other future announcements to make? No, just kidding.
Not really. I mean, most people already know that the channel is in the works with Punchy and myself and Mr. Victory doing the sketch comedy, and we don't know when we'll actually start the channel, but we're going to start the channel and go ahead and have that first skit filmed and put together. And so we'll start the channel and then do a premiere of that, and then do a live stream and kind of chat. And a lot of people from Bunker 33 have expressed interest in helping with the skits, and especially the first one that we're going to do is going to take quite a few people, so it should be very funny. I'm not going to give away too much. Chrismer and Booma both know about it, but all right.
Oh, you're talking about that?
Security with me, mate. The Alzheimer's kicks in. I forget every fucking thing, so that's all right. You got no security issues with me
Yeah,
whatsoever.
me too. My memory is shit. So
Yeah. Why did
Yeah,
the
go on,
MAGA
keep on.
terrorists blame BLM and Antifa for the coup on the Capitol? Because they're not very
No,
smart.
I can answer this. It takes a very special kind of stupid to say that the left, I love that term, the left with rabbit's ears, are going to dress up as the right to go and overthrow the result of an election that we won.
Yeah.
Yes, nice one,
Yeah.
you fucking idiots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're going to go in and attack
Dude, there is only one
the
infection that's
office
smaller.
of the Speaker of the House that, we agree with, but we're going to ransack her office, and then we're going to overthrow this election that we won, so that they can't verify the results of it. Yeah,
You know, though, we nearly revealed ourselves by wanting to hang Pence. Our elaborate plan was nearly exposed. That was a bit...
yeah.
Lucky none of them picked up on that one. We would have been pretty embarrassed.
So, did you guys watch Rider of Dinosaurs stream earlier?
No, I did not.
Oh, there's been a huge hole in the community ever since JM Truth decided not to let us laugh at his flat Earth stupidity anymore. But I'm pretty sure that Professor, and I say that in air quotes, Professor Kyle Adams is the new JM Truth. And Rider of Dinosaur did a 3.5 hour stream just laughing at his videos. It was him and Glober Mom and a couple of other people. I don't remember who. I started watching it and then fell asleep and then woke up and it was still going. But yeah,
Please
flat
better to put
Earth
up something here.
Institute of Science.
We got.
What was that?
Look, I've got something with you on Flat Earth. Who said this? It's a bit consistent. If someone knocks on your door and says, "G'day, have you heard the word of God?" you'll close the door on their face, generally speaking, or if you're that way, you'll let them in and maybe give them some marijuana cookies. But either way, there's just a straight brick wall. If these people like, say, Nathan Thompson that talk about flat Earth, it gives them an opening because people like us are inclined to say, what? And think you can change them. I reckon it's a shifty little stealth door to throw religious dogma. Now, Flurfer, who was that who said it? Fleur Feathers. Bring up this one, mate. This is a beauty. But a sky fairy with talking snakes, knowledge, apples, rib women, and whale transport. It kind of sounds a bit hard to believe, doesn't it? So it's technically a method of screening or vetting to see if you're susceptible. And you are not. That's why people look at you weird, because you don't have a religious belief, because you think you're a critical thinker. There is nothing wrong with that. It's the need to fit in and social suicide where people continue the belief, and everybody finds out later that what we all thought it was bullshit. No one owned up to it, though. No one said it at that time. But people will believe in what they think is wrong activity just to stay part of the crowd. Try to leave Scientology.
It's that sense of community.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, a lot of people I know a lot of flat earthers have said that they're basically in it for the community.
Are they posed? Yep. They're all posed. They all do not believe the earth is flat. It's just a way of getting together and feeling special. Reckless Ben said it. It's kind of fun to think you know something everyone else doesn't. I think Reckless Ben and the main surveyor have really gutted the flat earth beliefs very well, actually. Just two people.
Yeah.
Check out what I put on the screen real quick.
Wow, the GOP really betrayed us, huh? No reason to ever vote for a Republican again. We should start a new party for true patriots to show them who's boss. That would totally work in America's first past the post voting system. Maybe even vote for Democrats in races where we don't have a patriot running to really teach them a lesson. Yeah, that will own the libs right there. Own the libtards.
Yeah, I like that one.
Even though that kind of is exactly what happened in the late 60s, which caused, the Dixiecrats and caused the parties to switch their primary beliefs. Because, the conservatives used to be the Democrats and the liberals used to be the Republicans. Until the 60s, the civil rights, everything kind of flipped.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because I don't notice what is when you hear someone write the left, straight away you've got someone who doesn't think, and they vote conservative because my pappy did and his pappy did and so on. They don't actually think about it. Now, guys like us, we don't think the party that represents us as well as they should. But I don't know about you guys, but my basic thinking is not the left, the right, whatever. You do need free market. You do need developers that are rich to build things. You need government to build roads. But you also need, I think, things like free healthcare and free dental and so forth. It's not a case of, I have a hard left belief. I just think you give people who need a hand up, and people who are well-to-do should maybe help giving the rest a hand up. And then you get called a communist. Fuck off. Communism is totally not that. That is seizing means of production and a whole different thing. So their political naivety is exposed. What the conservative voter tends to do is listen to what you or I will say because we're critical thinkers and then just go the opposite. They're contrarians. They're not conservative. And they just say, healthcare's got to be bad. No, it's not, dude. When people aren't sick, you live longer. You work productively. When the government injects money into infrastructure, it creates jobs. We all have money. The economy turns and churns.
It's also there's a selfish aspect in it. Like, I don't want my taxes to pay for helping someone else. I only care about myself. Therefore, I only want my taxes to pay for things that I can use. I don't want to pay for welfare. I don't want to pay for food stamps. I don't want to pay for socialized health care. I don't want to pay for all of that because that doesn't help me. I only want to pay for the fire department in case my house catches on fire. I want to pay for the police so that they can continue to put minorities in jail. Things like that. Yep. That's the selfish aspect of the neoconservative movement.
But what happens, the Reaganomics, Thatcherism stuff has actually created a top-heavy scenario because the money they've got stagnates. And this is billions of dollars. It doesn't stimulate the economy. I'd rather have 20 unemployed people in a small town than one billionaire, because those 20 unemployed people are buying a box of milk and they're buying a loaf of bread and they're actually doing what is meant to happen in a free trade scenario. Like, I'm not a left or a right. I'm just a centrist that believes we need a bit of everything. It's when it gets too much, when the mafia influence prohibition. In fact, we're doing a wonderful story on weed on Sunday night when you guys are doing post-presidential stuff, and it's really amazing. You guys need to watch it the next day because the effect of hemp being illegal actually has forced a lot of corporates in, like prohibition of alcohol got Al Capone to where he was. And it's a very similar scenario to that with all the other industries. This is a very eye-opening thing we're going to be doing on Sunday night, guys. So I'm really looking forward to it. In fact, I haven't been able to find anyone who's smoking weed, so I've got to do a hell of a lot of field research myself. So I'm taking one for the team. And in fact, I'm doing some field research on the effects of weed as we speak, gentlemen. So I just might have to roll up another one. But that's what I do. Next week, we might do prostitution. That could be fun.
Ooh. So I did see something in chat a couple of moments ago, and I want to scroll up and find it so I don't misrepresent. Okay, so Flew Feathers said, do you think today will be full of violence? I do not think it's going to be as bad as it was on January 6th. And my reasoning behind that is we have prepared for it this time. On January 6th, we were completely unprepared. Even though we knew it was going to happen, the police were not put in place in the numbers where they should have been. The National Guard should have been called in prior to everyone going to Capitol Hill, and they weren't. And the Capitol Police should have sent a lot more people to the Capitol beforehand, and they didn't. And because of that, it got out of hand. However, now the National Guard and state police and federal as well are posting people at every state capitol, as well as throughout Washington, D.C., both at the Capitol, at the White House, on the National Mall, everything to suppress any violence that may try to break out tomorrow. So, yes, there will be some violence, but it's not going to be as rampant as it was on the 6th.
Can I point one out here? There was, on the 6th, there was like a Viceland, I think, reporter going in with amongst all the magatards invading, right? Now, here's the thing. There were cops lined up either side of the thing with magatards streaming past. The press lady said, can I go in? And the police said, no, you can't come in here. In amidst of a stream of magatards actually coming in and the police doing nothing. So the girl who asked, no, you can't come in, it so typified the entitlement of the small brain magatard. They just think it's about them and only them. And that is a very dangerous place.
And they're so shocked that they're being arrested for it. And, a lot of them live streamed themselves doing it, not thinking that there were consequences to their actions.
Yeah. Well, see the mob mentality. The mob thinks it can get away with anything. The pitchforks and flaming torches. That is so 70.
And who was that woman that tweeted at, or well, I guess not tweeted at Trump, but asked Trump, please pardon me. You told me to do this. Yeah. So you need to pardon me. That they want to say that, they were told by the president to do that, but no, they weren't told to storm the Capitol. They were riled up by, a petulant man-child. That's what I keep going back to. Trump is a petulant man-child because he didn't get his way. So he riled his supporters up. He didn't tell them to, bust windows and storm into the Capitol and steal shit and break things and steal documents from Nancy Pelosi's office or her computer or whatever else. He didn't tell them to do that. They did that on their own. He just told them to go to the Capitol.
I still don't get what
They filled everything else in on their own.
Yeah, you still owe me that chair too, Sprinkles. Remember I gave you that Nancy Pelosi chair? You still owe me that $50.
Shh. Don't tell everyone that on live stream.
Oh, sorry, are we still streaming? Sorry, okay, yeah. We all know that was a joke. I wouldn't have Nancy's chair. Oh, I tell you what. Yeah. Still had the scent of perfume too. I don't know.
I love the article
wait a second. Batch, never say that again.
No.
Never say that again.
He's not an evil genius. He's literally a petulant child who surrounds himself by yes men and toadies, and because of that, thinks that he can do no wrong. And he's always gotten his way because his daddy was rich, and he's always gotten his way. And he doesn't understand, he can't take any negative media long enough to actually understand that there are people that don't like him. So when he loses an election, he cannot possibly fathom that people voted against him. Yeah. So it must have been election fraud. It must have been millions of votes being hidden or cast illegally or something like that, because he can't possibly fathom the fact that people don't like him.
Yeah, I think personally, what I think it is, sorry about that. I think it's just mental declination. Is all it is. Mental deterioration.
Well, guys, there was a really good meme I saw come up a few months back and said, now having looked at the last 3.5 years of Donald Trump, I will never ever be surprised or shocked as to how Adolf Hitler got into power in Germany.
No,
and look, he is the bad president you guys had to have, because this sort of left, right, you're wrong, I'm right, whatever, was all a bit extreme. Yep. You don't have a bell-shaped probability curve that goes up in the middle. You have one that starts high, drops down to the middle and goes up again. Now, the thing is, you guys needed to have this. We have now got 40 years of living memory ahead of us where people can come out with their bullshit, ridiculous political views, and you can say, what about that fucking orange Cheeto? We are now more armed and more forewarned and forearmed than ever before in any of our living history, guys. Well fucking done. You needed Trump, and now the nightmare is going to be over in 24 hours' time. Isn't that a fucking great thought? And humanity will be beneficial. This next 4 years was going to be a dynamic point in human history, guys. Thank fuck. And Kim Jong-un is now only the second craziest leader in the world, but he will take that title tomorrow. Crazy.
Well, I used to think, how could Germans have possibly let someone like Hitler rise to power? But then in the 90s, Slobodan Milosevic rose to power in Yugoslavia, and it was the exact same thing. It was the exact same blaming a minority for all of your country's problems, and it ended in genocide of Serbian Muslims. It was basically World War II Germany all over again, and it didn't end in him sitting in a bunker and biting a pill and shooting himself in the head at the same time. But basically, if you look at the two, compare them side by side, it's the exact same thing. And then when Trump ran for president and I started seeing the rhetoric and everything, him blaming Mexicans for all of our problems.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of was Slobodan Milosevic.
Yep. Now, look, Yugoslavia is very interesting geographical because that is pretty much the central main point of Europe. And at some point, there were three political groups. And at some point in history, someone did have a stake to that land. So what they all do is cite there that we originally owned that. Now, when you look at areas that have been in disputes, like, say, the Moldovas, which is between Romania and Russia, the people who live in the area are neither here nor there, or Alsace-Lorraine. It's Germanic and French. And what happens is it has a mixed political thing. Now, the problem with, say, Nazi Germany and how that arose is the smaller villages where there were only 20 or 30 youth, the only places you could go were those places. So even though you might have thought, Heinrich Himmler, well, he's a bit rough, but there's nowhere else to go. So you're actually caught into their dogma and their doctrine, whether you want to or not. Your need to fit in socially will override your need of what's right and wrong. Like, Himmler was a total arsehole, yet came from well-to-do. He had no reason to hate anyone at all, other than he was just a fucking power-mad trick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
and hating the Jews was a means to an ends for him, because it got him the power that he wanted.
It's a standard doctrine, and it's not just Nazi Germany. It's centuries old. It's the enemy within, the enemy without. And generally, traditionally speaking, within Jewish culture, they have very heavy bases on education, therefore good job, therefore good money. Now, being high-paying positions, i.e. judges, lawyers, all the good gigs, people see that and immediately, they're stealing my job. No, dude, get off your fucking lazy ass and get a qualification, and you too can be a high court judge. And anyone who's Jewish or communism, it's pretty easy to build that. I think you just browbeat people into submission. It's actually a tried and true formula.
Yeah. And Tony Regime did correct me there. It was a lot more dynamic than the way I put it. But yeah, I just tried to simplify everything by saying Serbian Muslims. But there was a lot more to it than just Serbian Muslims.
Well, it was left over. It was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire too, so they were dominated by the Austro-Hungary. And then once there's a power vacuum, everybody fights for it. And then whatever emerges, generally speaking, the Machiavellian principle of politics still runs to this day.
Yeah. There's still a lot of shit there, and we're 20 years removed from what happened. But yeah, we vowed after World War II to never let anything happen like that again, but it just keeps happening over and over and over. And I joke because I'm pretty sure everyone here knows Mistress Magda. Her and I are dating, and she's German, and every time she says something joking to me, but says something I don't like, I'll say, "Hey, my granddad came over there and kicked your granddad's ass. I can do it too."
It's interesting though. You know how you were talking about, we did the Mandela effect some time back about how people believe something to be fact. Now, I knew for a fact that Nelson Mandela had got out of jail because they actually televised the whole boring 4-hour event back in whenever it was 1990-ish or so. And here is is an interesting Mandela effect, is that carrots are good for your eyes. That was a rumour circulated by the RAF pilots during the war because they didn't want to let on they had radar. Now, we all know they had radar now, but yet nearly 80 years later, people still say carrots are good for your eyes. So how effective is the bullshit rumour mill with something insignificant, but take it to something that's significant, you can topple political powers.
It's the same thing with you eat 8 spiders a year in your sleep. That circulated back in the late 90s on the internet, and pretty much everyone believes that. You eat 8 spiders a year. You ask someone, how many spiders do you eat in a year? 8. Everyone knows that. But it was some woman just wanted to see how fast a rumor could spread on the internet when the internet was a very new thing. People were just starting to use it, and it spread to everyone because people were like, oh my God, I eat 8 spiders a year? And people
if you want an interesting, you want a great factoid, which is what I love the term for this now, and this is one of them. The term factoid is not about an interesting little quirky fact as we all treat it now. The term factoid is actually an incorrect fact that spreads. So
yeah,
like the carrots and the good for your eye. So the factoid that I'm saying is now actually incorrect because this is not a factoid. This is a quirky fact. But the term factoid has now evolved with language. So it's evolved into its opposite meaning. That's what I love about language, the way it continuously evolves.
Yeah. And people think, a word is not in the dictionary, therefore it's not a real word. But it's the exact opposite. The dictionary follows what words are being used. And so it adds words. It's just like, when people started saying YOLO back 10 years ago.
Yep.
Within a year or two, it was in the dictionary because it was a word that was in common usage. So it was added to the dictionary.
I've got one here. Tony Regime just put up that spinach is high in iron to get people to eat more of it. Spinach is good for you. I'll bet you Popeye the Sailor Man in the cartoon had some sort of influence on that. But look, guys, I'm going to let you in a little bit of a secret, but I sometimes tend to use a lot of big words, which I don't know the meaning of, because I want people to think I'm more photosynthesis.
Yeah. I was trying to think of it.
I need my cricket soundboard.
That is a perfectly cromulent use of that word.
Yeah, I think it's a rather ambiguous narrative you implied there too. Yes.
Well, that was a Simpsons reference. The word that Jebediah Springfield made up. I can't remember the other word, but cromulent was one of them. And Lisa Simpson says something about how the other word was made up by Jebediah Springfield, and the teacher says, Lisa, whatever that word is a perfectly cromulent word.
Yes, I love it. In fact, I'd say that it probably had a greater influence on most people in the world than any political party, belief, school system, or whatever. If Lucas was clever, he could have snuck actual history into the Star Wars genre and then said afterwards, hey, you know that raid on Naboo? Well, that was based on Napoleonic warfare. Or apparently the diving in to get the Death Star in Episode 4 was taken from 663 Squadron, and apparently Lucas stole a lot of his ideas and just jumbled them all into one and threw them into space to avoid the whole copyright problem that they would have had nowadays. So rather clever marketing, isn't it?
And, he had so much trouble just getting a studio to pick the movie up because people just read the script and were like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you just read the script, those movies make no sense. But then once you factor in the visuals and everything else, then it ended up being a movie, one of the best trilogies ever made. We'll put it that way. Everyone has seen the original Star Wars trilogy.
Now, hang on. I've got an interesting point there. I feel the popularity actually is synchronized with technology, being the VCR recorder, where you could then not rely on TV to watch something. You could watch it over and over. And when you look at it through history, certain people that have jumped forward into prominence, it's not just been because of their talent, it's been that their talent aligned with certain technology. A good example would be Frank Sinatra became famous as a singer when microphones became good. Mickey Mantle and Don Bradman, both great sportsmen, became good with radio because we could sit around and listen to the game live. So it's an alignment of technology actually allows a certain person's talents to be truly out there, and it's like they're the world beater. So that is always an interesting. There's possibly a show topic,
even though VCRs weren't really a standard thing in the home until after Return of the Jedi had already been out for a couple of years. Some people in the early 80s, yes, they did have VCRs, but they were $500, $600, $700. Not everyone could afford them. I still remember coming home when I was in first grade and my dad had bought a VCR. And this was, like 1988 or something like that. And we were the coolest kids in the neighborhood because we had a VCR. And we went, by then, there were a couple of little hometown video rental places. And that night we went out to dinner and then went to the video rental place, and my parents rented a movie, and they rented Benji the Hunted for my sister and I. And that was the first movies we watched on our new VCR. And all the kids from the neighborhood would come over and watch videos, because we actually had videos, and we would record. I remember Top Gun came on TV and we recorded it, and we would always hit stop when the commercials came on and then hit record again when the commercials ended. So it was like owning the movie. We didn't have commercials in the middle, and kids would come over and watch Top Gun with me and stuff like that. It was several years. It was early 90s before everyone really had VCRs.
No, I'd say VCRs, well, through the 80s, I do remember there were a lot of video shops around. But the thing is, Star Wars was a thing that there were box sets, and there were extra box sets. There were the uncut footage and the add-ons. And look, up until Star Wars, and we're actually going to, Ards and I are going to be dealing with this through the year, but there are some fantastic old shitty movies. Like the old Godzilla movies, I actually watched them for their cheesiness. It is so obviously a guy in a suit running around constructed balsa wood buildings, but I love that.
They have those on HBO Max right now too. I think they have all the old Godzilla movies on there.
Yeah, but just old movies the way they're done. Like the old Adam West Batman series were fantastic in that they had some of the best actors turning up. There was always these corny one-liners between Robin and Batman and Alfred, and the way the Batcave was clearly marked for everything, so incoming criminals knew where to actually go and plug things in and get up to their end. It's like,
it was such a cheesy show.
Oh, and it had actors lining up, some of the actors to get onto it. These were high-paying actors. So
they would just have, even little cameos. They would just have an actor. They would be climbing a building, and some random actor would just stick their head out of a window and say hey to them.
Of course, yeah. It was brilliant. And Maximal Smart was another one. He basically recycled the same 8 or 10 jokes in a different way. And, of course, Siegfried, the German Cold War type chaos, that sort of stuff, the essence of those, I think, is lost now with Hollywood producers. But the original Batman series was so fucking funny. It was a comedy sort of heroic show, not running around saying Batman blowing people away.
I really loved the Lego Batman movie, because they referenced the old show and the original Batman movie with Adam West. They referenced that in the movie. They paid homage to it, and I thought that was brilliant. That they didn't just, try to pave their own way like the Batman series in the 80s and 90s did, or the Christian Bale series. They paid homage to all the Batmen that had come before. They even had the shark repellent spray in the Lego movie.
You got a problem. You just happen to have a can of whatever spray available to get rid of whatever the problem is. I love that shit. Writing was so much fun back then.
Badge mentioned Power Rangers. Same thing with Power Rangers. It was such a terrible show, but it was so much fun to watch. You could tell that it was just people in suits, but it was still a lot of fun to watch. It was a guilty pleasure. I was at that age where I was just too old by like a year or two to really be a Power Rangers fan. But every once in a while, I would watch it as a guilty pleasure.
I love it. In fact, what I found was with the Friday the 13th series, every time during it, I'd find myself yelling at the telly, go down to the boat. Look, just go down to the fucking boat. Go to the boat, get on the boat, sail away. You won't get murdered. But no. We're just going to stay on this island with a notorious killer with slashy hands. Yeah, surely that's going to end well. Like, I can end these movies in 15 minutes. Just go get on the boat and fuck off. But no, they just don't listen to me.
Well, there's a commercial that I've seen several times
movies, they never...
that It's like, do you make bad decisions like people in horror movies? And it shows this group of people trying to decide whether to get into the car that's running or go hide in the shed with all of the knives hanging on the walls. And they all decide they should go hide in the shed with all the knives on the walls instead. And the killer just like looks at the car, looks at them, looks back at the car, looks at them, and then just shakes his head.
One I used to love on the old Captain Kirk Star Trek was they're assembling an away team to beam down the planet, and suddenly 2 extras appear. Guys, this is not going to end well. That unknown extra should walk up and say, Captain, this will be better for both of our acting careers if you don't beam me down to this planet. If you go down, you'll survive. If I go down, I'm dead at the end of this show.
Yeah. What was the joke? The guy in the red shirt is going to die in that episode.
Yes. Well, I must say, I had a
that's what it was. Jim got it right. It was chainsaws, not knives. It was a shed with a bunch of chainsaws hanging on the wall that the kids go hide in. The killer just like shakes his head at them.
Yeah. There was one actually on Star Trek Next Generation in the original, probably series 1 or 2, where Tash, who was the blonde security girl, actually got beamed down and got killed. And I thought, there's no way she's going to be killed. There'll be an illusion or something. She's been teleported away or whatever. But she actually died. And it's like, what the fuck? They've destroyed the continuity. Like, that was actually a shattering moment for me. And that was in the early 90s, I think. Yeah, Next Generation it was, where someone actually died.
Okay, I was going to type this, but I am going to say this out loud. Tucker and Dale versus Evil is one of my top 5 all-time movies.
Oh, it was great. Tucker and Dale versus
That
Evil
is one of the
awesome.
greatest movies ever made. If you have not seen it, I am not going to spoil it for you. It used to be on Netflix. It was on there for a long time, but it's not anymore. I think if you have Hulu or something like that, I think you can watch it. But or maybe Amazon Prime. But the way that I found out about that movie, I was reading through a website that had like funny product reviews, and I found this review for the movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and it was a 1-star review, and it said, "This movie ruined my couch." And then the guy explained that he and his pregnant wife watched the movie, and within 30 minutes she had pissed all over his brand new couch and ruined it. Laughing so hard she just peed on the couch. And my ex and I thought that was hilarious, and so I looked it up. I was like, oh my god, it's on Netflix. So we watched it that night. I have seen that movie at least 100 times. I can pretty much quote the entire movie. And it's definitely one of those, like, it makes fun of the horror genre while being a horror movie. And every line is a joke. You know, like the kid tries to shoot the guy and he pulls the trigger and nothing happens. And the guy's like, you got to turn the safety off. And then the kid, looks at the gun trying to figure out how to turn the safety off and shoots himself in the head. Yeah. That's the one thing I will say about the movie. And the wood chipper scene.
Oh,
and
the wood chipper
literally
scene. Oh, God.
Yeah. The kid goes into the wood chipper and it grinds him up and he starts screaming.
He was running away. Yeah.
Well, no, he was trying to stab Alan Tudyk's character, and Alan Tudyk was throwing brush into the wood chipper, and he bends down to grab another limb, and the guy dives through the air right as he bends down and just goes head first in the wood chipper, and it grinds him up, and Alan Tudyk's trying to pull him out the whole time, and the wood chipper cuts off, and he just yells, "You okay?"
Yeah. It's been so long.
And they pull him out, and it's just like a ground up torso with legs. That's all that's left.
Yeah.
Hey guys, look, this has been fun. We just went on for a couple of minutes. That was 64 minutes ago. I'm actually going to do
Tony's
things like go and cook a meal and wash some clothes and be a human. But I tell you what, this session of Chewing the Fat, I've got an idea for Beer O'Clock anyway, where we do something like this. We're going to have to work on this, guys. We'll write up a dozen topics like bad movies or bad politics and sit here and just talk shit about it. I've had so much fucking fun, and it looks like 10 people are hanging around, stalking. So I think we've hit a bit of a winner here, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, man.
And I think Tony and I could sit here and quote Tucker and Dale all night long.
Yeah.
How's he even walking right now? Oh, he looks like he's gonna walk it off.
Let's make it a show. Well, look, guys, I'm going to sign off. So thanks for the time, you beautiful bastards, and thanks for you people looking in the chat. We've got 12 likes, so I love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So everyone
I
come
am-
back in just under 11 hours. Chrismer and I are going to be streaming the presidential inauguration. And so, yeah, come play with us tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll get out of bed early and I'll find
Later.
some material too, so it's even slightly rehearsed. Cheers, you beautiful bastards. Cheers and peace out. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's go ahead and call it a night since it's
Yeah.
11 hours.
It's about that time. And yes, Tony, I am doing spoilers. I said I didn't spoil it, but God, I love that movie so much.
Yeah, it's an awesome movie.
And okay, so here's one thing about that movie. Like when we originally watched it, I had a little 37-inch TV, and I watched it dozens of times, and then I got my 4K HDR TV, and the first time I watched it on that, I realized that there are boobies in that movie that I never saw on the old TV.
Okay. Yeah.
And that kind of entertained me. So even though I had seen it dozens of times, I never noticed like the blonde with big boobs. Yeah, you do get to see her boobs.
I realized something.
And yes, I do agree that the remake of It pisses all over classic horror films, even though the original It was a terrible movie. It's a great book, don't get me wrong. The movie had great actors, great director, but it was such a shitty movie. Like, there are so many continuity mistakes and things like that in the movie. You can sit there. I think one time, the first time I ever watched it when I was looking for filming mistakes, I counted 28 mistakes, and I didn't even know what I was looking for.
Well, okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, okay, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I just found out that OBS has noise suppression now, so I can it's had noise suppression. I didn't know it had it to begin with.
Oh,
Yeah, so all that my heavy breathing will be a thing of the past.
sweet. Yeah, I have that problem too. I try not to breathe right into my mic, but sometimes I don't think about it, and then I hear myself on the stream. I'm like, yeah, I breathe way heavier than I think I do.
Me too. It's the same, and I have no choice because that mic has to be right next to my mouth because it's that type of mic. It's a solid stand mic, so that's hooked to the headphones.
John Rapp finishing. Now what am I going to listen to at work? There were enough streams today, unless you caught them all already, because we had Rider of Dinosaurs did that 3.5-hour stream. Team Skeptic, I don't know if he's still going, but he went for a long time. And MC Toon did too. His MC Toon's second stream was awesome. He debated Fred Durst.
Yeah. I think that's weird.
Yeah, the original that's right. I had forgotten it was a made for TV miniseries.
just like The Stand and a lot of other.
Yeah. See, here's the thing with me and Stephen King. I love Stephen King's novels, but I have never liked any Stephen King movie.
Not you didn't like The Langoliers?
I don't know if I've seen that, but
Langoliers is really good.
the one that may be an exception is The Shining.
Oh,
The Shining was a
awesome.
pretty good movie. But you know, I loved Graveyard Shift. I loved that book, and the movie was so terrible. And Maximum Overdrive, another one. I love the book. The movie was terrible. It, loved the book. Movie was terrible. What's the one? The writer has the
Misery.
car wreck and
Misery.
fan.
Misery. That's Misery.
Yeah, Misery. Same thing. Like the movie just did not do the book justice at all. And
Yeah.
you know that's
Misery
more
was
of a
Bitter.
for some of them it's more of a converting a book into a film problem than it is actual film problem.
Well, there's also Thinner, which I thought was really good.
Yes. I think so.
I thought Thinner was
I
a
don't
pretty
really
good
know.
movie.
Not really.
But then again, that's more of a recent movie than
I told her.
Yeah.
the
I
rest.
wasn't gonna
Because
go.
The Shining had a
Yeah, I did.
low budget problem.
I
and
said no,
that's
but
the same problem with The
because I'm not
Langoliers. It
doing
had a
it,
very low budget.
Because I'm
So,
not going.
because they were made for TV movies. That's the whole thing about made for TV movies is that they have no funding.
Right.
At least
Right.
not one like of a mainstream media one like Fox or something.
Yeah. Well, you know, and nowadays, like made for TV movies is really a thing of the past unless you get like Lifetime or something like that. And
Oh, Christine! I love
are-
Christine.
okay, yeah, I'll give it to Christine. Christine did a good job in the movie.
Christine was awesome.
But, you know, you've got Amazon Prime and Netflix both are throwing basically unlimited budgets at any
Yeah.
project they greenlight these days.
Yeah, like
So there's
Spider-Man,
no
for instance.
excuse for low budget anything.
Yeah, like Spider-Man, for instance. I mean, well, then again, that's the mainstream. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I can't think of any indie films because that's mainly his films were indie films. I mean, you gotta look at
A lot of them, yeah. Yeah.
Well, most of them were indie films, really.
Yeah. But then you've got Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which was a no budget indie film. And it turns out to be one of the greatest movies ever made.
Well, one thing they didn't use like a backdrop or anything. They just took a cabin in the woods and did it with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just literally built a small cabin in the woods and they used that as their set. And there's another movie that did something similar to that. Have you heard of Booth, the phone booth?
The phone booth?
Yeah, it's
That one with crap, what's his name? The Irish
I
douchebag.
can't remember his name right now.
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell. Yeah,
Yeah. Where
The
he
booth.
was stuck in the
booth.
phone booth with
Yeah,
the
the booth.
guy that's going to kill his family if he hangs up or something like that.
yeah. The reason I bring that up is because it has a similar thing where the only set they had was literally him inside the phone booth. That was it. The only time,
Basically, the only expense you have is your crew and your actors. That's it.
and also I do think they took 1 minute and was not inside the booth because they had to show you shots of where the sniper was and everything. And
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
other than that, it was all in the booth,
Yeah.
which was an interesting thing. Just like 1401. which was an awesome fucking movie.
Wasn't that the John Cusack movie? I think wasn't he the actor in it?
1408. 1408. Sorry.
Yeah.
1408.
Yeah, that was a pretty good movie too. But you can make even horror movies where you have like a lot of prosthetics and stuff.
Cusack.
John
Cusack.
CGI these days, it's come so far, but it still doesn't look real. And
it's crossing the uncanny valley right now, is what it's doing.
Yeah. I love the value of the old movie special effects of where you see the killer rip someone's head off and you see the skin stretch and break and blood spurt out and everything, and just the people that came up with how to make that look good, I thought was amazing. I know a couple of people that used to do movie effects. They did the special effects for Titanic, was the last movie they did before they retired. But I have a ton of respect for that. Whereas now it's just film the actors doing stuff, put them in front of a green screen, and we'll just add everything to the movie in post.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that myself.
Me either.
I would rather
like watching the behind the scenes on the new Marvel movies where there are these tiny set pieces that the actors are standing on and they're just surrounded by green screens.
Yeah, it's just green screen all the way around. Yeah, that's just it's like even when George Lucas was doing Star Wars for the first time, everything was there was no such thing as green screen back then.
No.
Everything was a model. Even the little X-Wings and the Y-Wings and the Death Star, the little trench inside the Death Star. Because I actually saw them, building it. Because there was a video of them. Well, I think it was them building it, or it was something.
Oh yeah.
But it was on the director's cut of the movie, the collector's edition cut thing, where you buy the VHS tapes. Yeah, I had it on VHS. I had it on VHS. So.
Yeah, well, even the opening crawl, that was filmed manually. They literally had to film it by dragging the words up through the camera's view. And stuff that simple back before CGI was all done manually. And just I love how creative people had to be to make things like that. Whereas now it's just, send it to a bunch of people. Now, I'm not trying to put down CGI artists at all. But people had to actually build these things by hand to make them happen, whereas now it's just someone sitting at a computer using software to do it. And yes, I think DKG Custom is awesome. I think his effects are awesome, but it doesn't give you the feel. CGI effects have not come to where you can't tell the difference between them and the real thing. And so it doesn't quite give you the feel of reality like using real effects used to do.
Yeah, it's practical effects versus CG, really. And CG can do so much.
Yeah.
But I'm like I can see CG for movies like Up, or I'm just using that as a widely recognizable one. But yeah, I can see it used for actual movies that are supposed to be all CGI. But I think it's better now that all these studios have like unlimited budgets, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it'd be better if they did more practical stuff than CGI, because CGI is just, I mean, yeah, sure, we've gotten the technology to the point where you can pretty accurately depict, an entire cityscape, but
Yeah.
you can overdo it. They overdo it sometimes.
Yeah. And something that really bugs me about movies now that all you have to do to make gunfire is have the actor pull the trigger and then just do a little CGI flash at the muzzle
Yeah,
and play a gunshot sound effect. Like, but that doesn't look real because, the actor will just be holding a pistol and pulling the trigger multiple times, and the pistol doesn't move in their hand. There's no recoil or anything like
Yeah.
that. And it does not look real at all. As someone who handles guns and has fired guns a lot, anything larger than basically a 22 long rifle is going to have some sort of recoil.
yeah,
If you're firing a 45 handgun, that thing's going to kick like a 2-year-old mule in your hand, even an automatic. And you see these actors pull the trigger and their hand doesn't kick whatsoever.
yeah. Well, we've been going for about an hour and a half, and I actually do have to get something to eat, get to bed.
Yeah.
Because we
Let me.
got it coming
I-
up in
I
8.
just have to look chat. Let me accept this.
Oh, God.
And Tony just asked if I've seen Bad Taste or Brain Dead. I have not seen them. Peter Jackson is really good. But one complaint that I have is the CGI used in both Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy. There's a lot that looks really, really, really terrible. One of the worst is when the dwarves are escaping from prison in not Isengard. The elf prison. They get in the barrels and they go down the river, and they have them at first. It's practical. They have them in barrels in the water, but then it goes to a wider shot and you see them going down like some rapids, and it looks just absolutely terrible. That I cringe every time I watch that movie and see that. It's so bad. And a lot of the orcs just look so unreal. Even in 5 armies, the orcs just don't look real at all. Yeah, well, Clint Eastwood has fired enough guns that he knows how to fire them. A lot of people will blink when they fire. Like when the gun does fire, it triggers a blink response in a lot of people. Unless you've fired thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds, it surprises you every time, and you blink involuntarily. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check those out though, Tony.
Yeah, we've been going for a while, so let's go ahead and
Yeah,
wrap things up.
this 5-minute stream has lasted quite a while.
I'm not even
So-
gonna play an outro or anything. I'm just gonna end the stream because this was just a test
Yeah.
after all. So
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for coming to our 5-minute test stream
Yeah.
that lasted for an hour and a half or however long it's been. We had a lot of fun talking, and come check us out. I guess later today now, for the presidential inauguration, and then our regular stream Saturday.